Well, it took hours and hours to connect this thing. I think I only had 1 bar battery, but it didn't give any warning. I went into bind mode, just wouldn't bind with the radio control. There it is. There's the Avata 1. Do we call this the Avata 1 or just the Avata? I protected it, you see. It's affecting the camera a little bit there. But I had some great times with this, crashed it hard. You see, I protected it. Now I've got the Avata 2. I just think if I had a hard crash in this is hollow, you see, hollow with the aerials going through it. There's a guy in Italy called Rimsler, he's cut these off. And he broke the wire for the antenna, so he taped it on the side. But he did that with the Avata 1 as well. So make sure you've got plenty of battery in before you go ahead, and there's hours it can take. You've got to update them all, and you do it in Flight Assistant in the computer. Let's see if we're there. Let me see. There it is. This is DJI Assistant. I was connecting you connect this. First of all, I tried to do it in the phone, in the Fly app, and it just wouldn't bind. I pushed the bind button, you know, you hold the battery power in until it bleeps, and I did it on the remote, just wouldn't bind. And then there's a way of binding it with the goggles. Again, it wouldn't bind. And then the guy sold it to me. He told me to plug it, get DJI Assistant. So it then did a big update for this. I don't know, about 300 megabytes. And then I did the update for the remote controls, an update for that. Did that. And then I plugged this into DJI Assistant. It did nothing. And we don't know why. So it wouldn't update the goggles in DJI Assistant. Another thing I find problems with is I plug my remote into the computer to fly in a simulator. It does nothing, it doesn't recognise the RC controller. There's no point in going to Steam and buying liftoff and things if it won't recognise your remote in the first place. I tried it with my Radio Master Pocket. So I'm ever so pleased, but I've spent, it's 2 o'clock now, I went and picked it up from the post office at 8 o'clock this morning. And from about 9 o'clock this morning, I've been playing around trying to get it connected. But my little tip of advice, I watched Air Drones, the Irish guy, but he doesn't really go into specifics about updating them to get you. I've got Integra goggles, they're working now. But my tip would be to get some battery in this first. I plugged it into my Mac laptop charger, it's very fast. It's faster than doing it USB into the laptop. To get DJI Assistant 2, first of all, it wouldn't let me install it because it says it's not on the App Store. So go to Apple's App Store, it's not there. I go on my phone to DJI Assistant in this phone, Apple phone. I download it, and then it says connecting, and then it's going around in circles for hours. It doesn't connect, so that's no good. You've got to have DJI Assistant 2 in your PC or your Mac, and you've got to go into settings in the Mac. Let's see if I can show you these. You go into settings here, and then you've got to, it will ask you in security, privacy and security, I think it was there. Well, a little box comes up somewhere, I'm sorry, I don't know where exactly it is. And you've got to override it and allow it to install Assistant 2, because I thought that maybe it's just the US government banning with Apple DJI Assistant 2. But without DJI Assistant 2, I couldn't have got this working, I don't think. I tried with the phone, just wouldn't bind, downloaded it. So I went into the DJI Assistant 2 and it's done it. And apparently you've got to go into your, if you want to sell this to someone else, you've got to go into your account and delete it because they won't be able to bind it in DJI Assistant. But I never used DJI Assistant 2 with the Avata 1 because I never needed it. It worked. This has been a bit of a struggle to bind. So I'm talking about the Integra goggles, which I've already got, and I bought last November with the FPV drone. I love the FPV drone, it works fine. But just to bind them, we just have to push the button, the battery button, and that button. Is that the power button? Yeah, you've got to hold it in for 4 seconds and it will start bleeping and they bind. And when I changed from the Avata 1 to the FPV drone, that's what we do to bind it. And then you go into the goggles. Sorry, it might be called pairing. And then you go into goggles to bind and it says at the top, switch. And then it's got all the list of the DJI drones that you can bind with and you switch. So you've got to do it in there and before with the bind button. But when I got it bound for the last time and it bound, I was binding here and here. I didn't have the radio control on, but now it's all working. Sometimes you don't really know what you did, but I think the low battery might have had something to do with it when it didn't bind. Anyway, time to fly it.